This is the story of a man named Bagman, a human who resembles a ghost. He is known for kidnapping children, earning the name Bagman because he forces them into his bag after capturing them. The child he targets, he always manages to capture. In this story, too, he is after a child. Will the family be able to save the child, or will the child become yet another victim of Bagman? The film begins with a scene of a father and his daughter playing together. The girl seems a bit worried, and her father quickly notices. He asks, "What's the matter, dear? You look a little worried. I also told your mother that our daughter has some tension. If there is something, you can tell me." On this, her daughter does not say much, just that "I'm worried about my past, but I hope that I will get better slowly." Her father says, "Okay dear, you go to the car. I will bring pizza for you so that your mood can get better." As the girl approached the car, the lights began to flicker. Moments later, all the lights suddenly went out. The girl was very scared, and because it was too late, her dad had not returned, so she decides to go to him. She reaches the same hotel from where her dad had come to get pizza. The hotel was completely deserted, and when she moved closer to check on her dad, she found him lying on the ground. His condition was very bad, injured, and he was not able to get up. It seemed as if he was paralyzed. His hands and feet were not working. She gets very scared seeing her dad's condition, but before she could understand anything, a bagman appears, grabs the girl, forces her into his bag, and begins to fill it. Then as he closes the zip, the girl dies there. 4 years have passed since that incident. Now, we are introduced to a family consisting of Patrick, his wife, and their young son. This family was living their life with great joy. Now today Patrick's brother and his wife's sister come to their house to meet them, who used to come before. Patrick and his brother do a business. Patrick tells his brother that "I have made a machine that can cut trees in a good and short time. With the use of this machine, a lot of our hard work and money will be saved." When his brother saw the work of the machine, he also said that "Yes brother, very good. Everyone will like this project of yours." Here Patrick's wife named Karina also talks to her sister. As night falls, they leave from there. When Patrick was putting garbage in the dustbin, the lights of the house start flickering. He hears the voices from the side of the forest. Patrick thinks that someone has definitely come to the forest, so he goes and checks, but he does not see anyone there, because of which he gets scared. In the morning, Patrick went to his company, where his brother was also there. The two brothers were getting work done from the workers. This company was established by his father, whose owner were now these two brothers, because his father died. Patrick's brother says, "Since the time of our father's death, I used to have bad dreams, but somehow I handled myself." Patrick was making a wooden owl by carving with a knife. He had also made many other wooden animals, which his father had taught him. Patrick's brother went away from there, but Patrick starts thinking about his childhood. That one day in his childhood, he went to a cave near his brother. There was a time when there was digging work inside this cave, but for some time, the work stopped inside the cave and no one had been coming here since then. When the young Patrick was standing near the cave, a man started coming out of the cave, who had a scissor in his hand, and he cut his hair. Seeing this, Patrick got very scared and fell down. By then the man went back into the cave, while Patrick also ran away from there. Now in the present time, we see Karina playing with her child at home, but when Karina started working on her laptop, she lost her attention from her child, and her child goes to the forest while playing. He was actually following a doll and moving forward. After a while, when Karina thought about her child, she sees him. But when she does not see him, she starts looking for him everywhere. She was also very worried, but when she did not find the child, she went to check in the forest. After going a little far, she finally found her child. Seeing this, Karina felt a spark of hope return to her life. She picks him up and starts bringing him home, but she also realized her mistake. That "I should not have left my child alone like this." When Patrick came home at night, Karina also told him this. When the two were talking, the light suddenly starts to flicker as it was doing before. Seeing this, Patrick was surprised at "Why does this happen with the light?" But he ignored this. Then he goes and starts working on his laptop. He was carving the owl with a knife that he had been trying to make for so long. Then he got a mail that the big company is not ready to lend him money. He got angry with this and he hits the knife on the table and breaks it. Then he throws it in the trash. Patrick heard a voice from his son's room. It felt like he was talking to someone. That's why he goes to his son's room and asks him, "Who are you talking to?" The child says, "There was a doll. I was talking to that doll," but Patrick does not see any doll. Ignoring this, he puts his child to sleep. When he was coming back, the lights start to flicker again. Patrick was worried about this. He comes to his room and starts looking at the forest from the window. He feels that there is a person in the forest. That's why he comes out of the house with his baseball bat and looking at the forest. He says, whoever you are, stop joking, understand, and come in front of me. Then I will see you. Saying this, he started waiting, but no one comes out of the forest. Then Karina also came out with her child. Patrick tells her to go inside the house quickly because someone is spying on us. Now they spend the night somehow, but the next morning they called the police. They tell everything and the police search their house, forest, everywhere, but they don't find anything strange. When the police went to check on the roof, there were pieces of wood lying. Seeing that, Patrick says, "How did these pieces of wood come here? I had thrown them in the garbage." Then the police officer keeps the pieces of wood with him as evidence. He says, "You just be careful," while giving his number to Patrick, "and if any problem arises, call us." Then Patrick starts his work again. When he checked the garbage, he found the same owl that he had made as a child, but he didn't know how this childhood owl came to me. That's why he asks his wife about this. "Did you bring this owl?" Karina says, "No, I have seen this owl for the first time." Patrick doesn't understand anything. He is thinking, how did my childhood toy come to me today? He also finds out that the knife that Patrick had broken and thrown in the garbage was also missing from there. Now Karina tells him that our child keeps playing flute all the time. That's why I have a problem working. She gives the flute to Patrick and tells him to hide it, so he puts the flute on a box and Patrick himself started playing with his son. His son started insisting while bathing that, "I want that flute." That's why Patrick goes to the warehouse, because the box on which he had kept the flute, that box was now kept in the warehouse. Now after his departure, the child was alone. So the bagman opened the window and started coming to the bathroom, but Patrick had a hunch that something was wrong. That's why he came back to his child and takes care of him. Karina had also come because she also heard her child's voice. His son was fine. He just says, "I saw a doll here." Patrick was worried because he did not get the flute, although he had kept it on the box. Even Patrick checks the garbage that maybe someone must have thrown it by mistake, but the flute is not even found in the garbage. After that he went to sleep in his room, but then he got a message from the alarm in his phone that there is something wrong with it. That's why Patrick went to check the alarm, but it was absolutely fine. Just someone had opened the door of his shed. When Patrick goes to close the door of the shed, he sees a doll there wearing a cap, and this cap was Patrick's childhood. Seeing this, Patrick became even more nervous. This was because his childhood cap had now appeared as well. When he started coming back inside the house, he was shocked to see that all the windows and doors of the house were closed. He was left standing outside, unable to enter his own house, but when he peeped through the window of the door, the bagman came inside. Patrick gets very nervous. He quickly breaks the window of the door, opens the door first and comes inside quickly. He immediately goes to his wife and son and saves his life first, but when he checked the house, he did not find anyone, but Patrick is very scared. He calls the police the next day. The police officer tells him that you will be asked to install CCTV cameras outside your house. "Okay, tell me, has anything disappeared from the house?" On it, Patrick says, "Yes, my son's flute, which he often played." The officer calms him down, saying, "Do not worry, we will be around your house from now on," but Patrick is still worried. He did not understand what was happening. Why are the problems increasing for me day by day? He also tells his brother about this and says, "The owl I made in childhood has appeared today, and the cap that I always wore, someone has also brought it, but I don't know who did this." When Patrick was sleeping at night, he starts having bad dreams like Bagman is taking his son away from him. Then Patrick starts remembering his childhood, that when one day he was going with his dad, he brought him near the same cave and tells that people say that there's a bagman in this cave, but no one has seen that bagman yet. He kidnaps children and takes them away. Now Patrick was young at that time, that's why he tells his dad that, "I know you are scaring me so that I can study well, do all my work." On this, his dad says, "No son, I am not scaring you, I am telling the truth," and the bagman takes those children with him who are good, listen to everything and do their work well. So why would I want this even though I know the truth? My dear, I just wanted to say that you are also a good kid, so just be careful. As Patrick's thoughts unfold, he calls a psychiatrist to his house. The psychiatrist examines Patrick and reassures him that all he needs is rest. His sleep is not complete, that is why he sees strange things and even a few things that do not even happen in reality, like I found out from my research that Patrick was shown a strange man in his childhood which Patrick had made in his drawings, but in reality that man didn't exist because no one had seen him. So this is just Patrick's thought, don't worry much. Then she advises Patrick to get good sleep, but still, if you are afraid, then change your house once and see. Her idea was liked by Patrick and Karina. That's why they decide to stay in a hotel for a few days, and they leave their son at Karina's sister's house, so that he will stay with his aunt for a few days and his mood will be good. Then Patrick and Karina come to the hotel. Both started talking. Karina asks him, "What happened to you in your childhood?" Then Patrick tells that it was about his dad's Bagman and he was very scared. "That's why my dad came to me again. He gave me a knife and said that Bagman can stay around you, so for your safety, keep it with you always, and if you lose this knife, then Bagman will not leave you, and see, today I have lost that knife." There we see Karina's sister. She was talking to someone on the phone and Karina's son was sleeping peacefully. Suddenly, the light started to flicker. She gets a little scared and goes to check the child, who was absolutely fine, but then the doorbell rang. When she went and checked, it was the Bagman who had come here too. Seeing him, Karina's sister was scared and quickly goes and takes care of the child. She tries to call someone to call for help, but by now everything had stopped working. That's why she took the knife in her hand, takes Karina's son and hides in the closet, but Bagman, who had seen them, also comes here to catch them. Bagman catches Karina's sister. In an act of self-defense, she attacks him and, fortunately, manages to save both her and the child's life. After a while, Patrick, Karina and the rescue team also come here. Karina's sister was slightly injured, that's why she was bandaged. Then Patrick decides that I will take my family to my brother's house. That's why he takes them to his brother's house. Now Karina's sister was very scared. Karina handles her that you don't need to be scared because I am with you. Karina's sister tells her that man is very strange and dangerous, and when he grabbed my face, I was paralyzed, but thank God, with the help of the knife, I saved both of us. There was a baseball bat in Patrick's hand and he decides to stay awake all night so that he can protect his child. Because by now he had understood that Bagman is after his son, but Karina tells him that there is nothing dangerous here because we are at your brother's house. He is also at home and the police are also outside, so you sleep peacefully without worry. That's why Patrick also lay down and slept. After a few minutes, when he checked the tab, Bagman had reached his son. Patrick got scared to see this. He quickly ran to his son's room, but by then Bagman had taken the child. When Patrick came to his brother's room, he gets shocked to see that his brother and brother's wife had died. When he came out, it was even more terrible scene because someone had killed the police too. That was obviously the work of Bagman. He killed them all alone. Now Patrick was not going to spare Bagman. He thinks that Bagman has definitely put his son in his bag. That's why Patrick starts following him. While following him, he came close to the cave, but it was quite dark here and Patrick did not have any weapons. Then he heard his son's voice from inside the cave saying, "Dad, please save me." That's why Patrick comes to this cave and goes ahead looking for his son. He saw that a lot of candles have been lit there. There are also nests everywhere in which all the children's favorite things were lying, whom Bagman used to pick up and take them by putting them in his bag. Then Patrick opens a bag that had the same doll that his son used to see. Patrick sees that my son's voice is coming from inside it. That means his son was not there. In fact, Patrick was also fooled by this doll. Seeing this, he became even angrier and broke the doll. There, Karina and her sister found their child, whom they handle and call the police. Patrick, who was still inside the cave, says, "Whoever you are, why don't you come in front?" He had to say that Bagman comes. He grabs Patrick's face from behind and started taking him with him. He looked terrifying, almost like a ghost. He had a bag with him, and by placing his hand on his face, Patrick was paralyzed. He couldn't move and could only lie there. In the meantime, he noticed a knife lying in a nest in front of him. He broke it and threw it in the garbage, where it vanished. Somehow, Patrick managed to grab the knife and stabbed it into Bagman's neck. In that moment, he also found the flute that his son used to play. Now somehow Patrick gets up and tries to run away from here, but Bagman was not going to spare him. He also follows him. Patrick throws the flute out of the cave, but Bagman comes to him, grabs Patrick by the mouth and picks him up and forcibly puts him in the bag he brought with him. Patrick's bones were severely broken, signaling a painful death awaiting him. By then, Karine also comes out of the cave with the police. Seeing the flute here, she understands that Patrick is inside the cave. That's why a lot of police go inside the cave, but unfortunately, they didn't get him. It's then revealed that, during his childhood, Patrick's father had also mentioned that Bagman only takes beautiful, young children with him. When Bagman sets his sights on a child, he cuts their hair and keeps a close watch on them. No matter how much the child grows, Bagman never stops following them. Then, when the opportunity arises, he forces the child into his bag and takes them away. This is why Bagman chose Patrick in his childhood. He began spying on Patrick and cut his hair. Although Patrick grew up, Bagman never stopped following him, and eventually, he took him. It turns out that Bagman had been coming to Patrick's house for him, not for his son. In the end, Bagman took him with him forever. This marks the tragic ending of the movie. Generated with https://com.i